Hi, this is Daryl Meyer from Keller, Texas. Today is Thursday, June 24th, 2010. Had a lot of responses to yesterday's video about Iran declaring a state of war, and we're seeing that just going further and further every day now. So just hang on and get ready for this ride, because we're about to see some serious stuff hit the fan. Alright, starting today out of israeltoday.co.il, and please don't write me letters saying, oh, this is a biased newspaper. It's not. It's not a unreliable source. I've got several friends in the IDF and several friends that live in Israel that confirm most of the things I do. I do a lot of research. It takes me probably 5 hours to put on this 11-minute video every day. So I stay up a lot at night, late, doing a lot of research. So please, every now and then a story might hit the airwaves that turns out to be a hoax of some kind, but for the most part I double check everything. So here we go. This says, report, Israel and U.S. are preparing for war with Iran. A flurry of news reports over the past week indicate that Israel and the U.S. are making ready for an imminent military strike on Iran's nuclear facilities. On Wednesday, Iran's semi-official Fars news agency reported that about a week ago, a squad of Israeli military aircraft landed at a military airstrip in Saudi Arabia, of all places. It was reported earlier this month that Saudi Arabia had agreed to let Israel pass through its airspace in order to strike Iran. The Israeli aircraft reportedly landed at the airport in Tabuk in northwest Saudi Arabia, which according to the report will act as the central base of operations for the Israeli air campaign against Iran. Fars cited a local Saudi resident who said the Israeli presence and cooperation between the ruling local Saudi prince and the Jewish state was the talk of the town. Saudi Arabia does not have formal relations with Israel and publicly refers to the Jewish state as an enemy. But Riyadh is just as fearful of an Iranian nuclear bomb as Israel, and would likely resort to any means to avoid having its regional economic influence disturbed. At the same time, Iran's press TV reported that a very large contingent of U.S. ground forces had massed in neighboring Azerbaijan. I don't know how to say that. I'm probably butchering it. The independent news website Trend confirmed this report. Those reports came just days after the Pentagon confirmed that an unusually large fleet of U.S. warships had indeed passed through Egypt's Suez Canal en route to the Persian Gulf. At least one Israeli warship was reportedly with the American Armada. Okay, so you can read in Psalm 83 and Ezekiel 38. Either one of these could possibly be this war we're about to be seeing happen right in front of our face. There is also the chance that the sixth trumpet war spoken of in Revelation could be what we're about to look at, because that emanated from the Euphrates River area, which about 65% of it is in the country of Iraq, where we've had troops for over 8 years stationed up and down the Euphrates River. Okay, this out of Arcamax.com. Netanyahu says criticism is a threat to Israel. He says critics of Israel are attacking its legitimacy and right to exist, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told Parliament Wednesday. He also called on Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas to engage in direct talks with Israel, Haaretz reported. Of course, Abbas doesn't want to have direct talks because, you know what, his goal is not peace. His goal is the utter destruction of Israel. Period. They don't want peace. They want to push all the Jews into the ocean and take over the land. That's their goal. Here's a story out of Depka.com. Middle East war tensions mount over Gaza-bound enemy ships. Hezbollah pledges reprisal. Okay, ominous clouds gathered over the Mediterranean today, June 24th, after Israel announced that ships bound for Gaza would be deemed enemy vessels and halted by its navy by whatever means were necessary. Hezbollah shot back with a threat of violent retaliation, while Israel's northern commander warned that the IDF was prepared to deal with threats from Lebanon by appropriate means. Okay, they've lifted the blockade so that all aid, all humanitarian aid gets through. The only thing they don't allow through is weapons, munitions, and things that Hamas could use against Israel to attack them. So, there is no real blockade. They're just protecting themselves at this point. So, any kind of flotilla is going to be deemed enemy warships. So look out. I would say, if you're heading to Israel with a boat, you got a death wish, because they will deal with you pretty harshly at this point. Here's another story out of haaretz.com. Report says IAF helicopters unload equipment meant for attacking a Muslim state at Saudi airport. I found this story all over the place. Helicopters landed at a Saudi airport and unloaded equipment intended for attacking targets in a Muslim state, semi-official news agency reports. This just kind of confirms the report I told you earlier. But Israel Air Force helicopters are in Saudi Arabia unloading equipment. And, we will probably see them use this equipment in the next few days, and I'll be bringing that report to you as soon as I find out about it. So it's amazing that Israel is even in Saudi Arabia, seeing as how they aren't really the best of friends. But anyway, I'm not going to read that whole report because it would take up too much time. Okay, again out of haaretz.com, Infrastructure Minister warns Hezbollah Israel will fight for its gas fields. Okay, Israel said it will not hesitate to use force to protect its gas fields from being claimed by Lebanon. Infrastructure Minister Uzi Landau warned this week in an interview with Bloomberg News. Lebanon Parliament Speaker Nabi Berri earlier this month urged his government to start exploring its offshore natural gas reserves, claiming that otherwise Israel would claim the resource. So this huge oil and gas field I told you about some time back, Lebanon and Hezbollah are claiming it's part of theirs. So this could very well be another reason for this war to break out. Okay, here's something out of WorldNet Daily that just went under the radar. Nobody has talked about it. This blows me away. The headline is Obama's New World Order Manifesto. Lost in all the chaos of the Gulf oil spill is Barack Obama's 52-page manifesto for a new world order. I invite you to read this for yourself. It's misnamed National Security Strategy, misnamed because it's actually a blueprint for running the whole world like he's been running the United States since January of 2009. Obama is hardly the first president to plead for America to join the New World Order. It started with the first George Bush and has continued unabated through 3 more administrations. But Obama's so-called national security strategy has little to do with securing the U.S. from threats and much more to do with turning over the U.S. to the illegitimate authority of global organizations. You should read this thing. It's crazy. Woodrow Wilson tried with the League of Nations. FDR tried with the United Nations. I guess we're going to keep trying this until they think they get it right. Anyway, Obama is bringing in people with lots of experience, like the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, just to name a few. But, this is a pretty ambitious agenda for a guy who has never run any business or served in any executive capacity before assuming the presidency. I urge you to get into this, read this thing. Look at what he's trying to do. He's the one leading this effort to try to bring world government. Canada earthquake measures 5.0 shakes Ottawa, Toronto, and the U.S. just one day after these Christians were arrested in that area, and the week just prior to the weekend where the the G20 and the G8 leaders meet in Toronto and Huntsville, Ontario this weekend. Interesting. God likes to shake things up at just the right time. Okay, I'm running out of time here, so I want to briefly touch on what is Armageddon. A lot of people are asking me, hey, is this war we're about to see Armageddon? Is this the one that's going to wipe out everybody? Armageddon, the word Armageddon, only appears once in the Bible. Okay, armies will be gathered together in a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. That's found in Revelation 16:16. Now, Har means mountain, Gaddon means cut off, as in a slaughter. The mountain of slaughter will be the site of a large-scale death and destruction. The valley of Megiddo, which is part of the plain of Esdraelon, will be the main location of this battle of that great day of God Almighty, Revelation 16:14. Historically, it's the site of many military clashes, though: Barak and Sisera, Gideon and the Midianites, the Philistines and Israel, the Crusaders and the Saracens, Napoleon and his foes, General Allenby and the Turkish army all fought major battles here. Okay, Jesus is going to overthrow a gathering of nations at Armageddon in the later days. That's in Daniel 2:28. The Antichrist will be destroyed with the brightness of his coming. That's in 2 Thessalonians 2:8. After the Great Tribulation, Jesus will return to judge and make war, Revelation 19:11, to fight the nations, Matthew 25:31 through 46, and fight the battle of Armageddon. Okay, the kings of the east will invade Israel at Armageddon. That's Revelation 16, verse 12 through 16. Zechariah 14:2 through 4 says that all nations will be gathered against Jerusalem at Armageddon. Okay, right before it looks like Israel is going to fall, Jesus Christ himself will return and fight against all these nations fighting against Israel. This is not the battle of Armageddon we're facing. This is more likely the Psalm 83 war or the Ezekiel 38 war or the Sixth Trumpet War. But we will see a war, and I think this summer. God bless you all. Hope to see you tomorrow.